Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm with my good friend Lynn Falk again from Retail Works. How are you, Lynn?
I'm very good, Alan. Thank you for having me.
And you're getting through the cold weather, I assume?
I have a little winter fatigue, but 4 weeks to spring, 4 weeks, 2 days. So
Do you
there's
know,
hope.
when I look around the country, in fact, it seems to be cold everywhere other than South Florida is like the only warm place on the globe here.
Yeah, everyone's getting hit a little bit.
Good. Well, for those of you who have not followed on Lynn and I have done, and Laura, her cohort, we've done a number of these videos, and they're such essential topics. And even though Lynn's group, they are artistic marketers, they're brand strategists, they do a little bit of everything, but we always find kind of the unique, things to talk about, like today, touch. I mean, the whole world of touch in the spa channel, I mean, it is touch, right? Everything we do is touch.
Correct. It's the most essential of all of our senses to our well-being, and you know it well in your industry.
Well, and you mentioned to me before we started that touch really doesn't necessarily start with the therapist or the therapy table. It
Right.
starts the minute someone grabs the door, right? And can you explain that? Wants to walk in.
Right. So we interact with our surroundings through the sense of touch. And so as soon as you touch a door handle and you turn that door handle and how that door feels when you open it, someone's already making a certain opinion and has a certain perception. Is it too heavy of a door? Does it feel nice in the hand? How easy is it to open? That's the very first thing. So the first sense that's stimulated is touch. And then once we come in through that door, there are all sorts of places that we're going to be touching. We go up to the reception counter. We might touch the counter itself. We might get a business card from someone or from the treatment person that's going to be treating us. Then we'll sit down in a waiting chair. What does that chair feel like? What does the fabric feel like? We're going to pick up perhaps a magazine and flip through that. All sense of touch. How does that feel?
And you cannot deny that all the things that you just said ring true, especially in the spa channel. As I just said a second ago, everything is about touch. And frankly, I think you can make the argument that a client coming into the spa will touch way more things up front before they even head down the hall to change clothes and put on a robe.
Right. And we hope they're also, maybe when they're waiting, picking up some products and looking at products. We can increase sales by up to 25% just by getting someone to interact and try on or sniff or smell, or maybe some lotion or whatever it is, a product line.
And when we talked about this a little, and I'm looking at my note here, and when you get to the treatment room and you have a treatment table and you have, even though we're not talking about it, but it's important, but you have colors, right? And it's, what do the sheets feel like? And how is the face crescent when you lay down on a table? You cannot deny how critical all these touch points. Can I say touch points? Is that a joke or no? Okay.
No,
But they're all touch points, right? Everything's a touch point.
It is. And if you have to put on a robe, what does that robe feel like? If you're using towels, what do those towels feel like? And yes, definitely the sheets and even the comfort of that treatment table. So what does the cushion feel like? What does that headpiece feel like? And we've all probably been in the situation where maybe something, if you start sweating and it's not absorbing the sweat particularly, it's very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. All that sense of touch, our senses are hypersensitive when we are in a spa environment. We are there to experience that. So all of a sudden, we're more aware of all of it. Where we might be walking through, just down the street, and you're almost on automatic, and you don't necessarily pay much attention. But when now you have someone that's going to be starting to work on your body, and you have something touching you, a sheet, a blanket, a towel, a person, that's all of a sudden, it's hypersensitive.
So Lynn, we always say this, that we're very tactile, or we're very kinesthetic in our industry, right? The visual, the sense, the sounds, etc. But touch, most of your body touches something. I'd almost say touch is at the top of the list because the body engages with so many different things, right, in the spa channel.
Right. But again, because we're there to be touched, we are more acutely aware of anything that's touching us. So it's like that sense it's on high active. So, and even at the end when you're walking out, so even how your feet feel, if you're walking barefoot, down the hall, or you put on some flip-flops that they give you or some slippers or something, how do those even feel? All of a sudden you are aware of everything that's touching your body. It's an interesting phenomenon in the spa industry. That's why I love talking about touch in the spa industry, because it's not just that treatment you're getting, it's everything that surrounds the treatment that's touching you.
You guys as a company, RetailWorks, I mean, people think retail, they think front of the house, but your group is so much more than that, right? Because I'm sorry for the pun, but you touch a lot of different aspects within the spa channel, correct? And it's a little confusing for people.
I know. In fact, funny that you say that, Alan, we have started another division called the LMF group, because we feel that sometimes that word retail can get in the way. So the LMF group is really about creating that holistic experience for your visitors, your guests, your patients, your clients, your members, whatever, across the spectrum. We can cover many different industries. And we're literally looking at, again, from the website all the way through to the facade and the interior all the way to the exit. And what are those first impressions and last impressions? And then what's happening in between those?
I'm glad you said that. I didn't mean that the name RetailWorks was confusing. I meant the whole touch scenario can be very confusing, but I'm glad that you told me that you're doing a new name. Okay, let me go back to the retail, the front of the house for a minute, because I think it's so critical as well. Things not only have to feel right, but they've got to look right. We've talked about this in previous videos, right? You're lighting, everything else, but people's natural reaction is to reach up and grab something off the shelf. So even as a buyer, in a spa, you sort of have to be conscious of how things feel, correct, to you yourself.
Yes, and it's funny because there are certain displays that can be put together, and if they're too perfect, people don't want to disrupt the display. So we all, and I love perfection and organization and getting products to line up and soldier and be just perfect. But sometimes again, people aren't going to want to pick up. So we need to have samples out. As soon as someone sees a sample, they're going, oh yeah, now I want to try this. Otherwise, it's like, well, it's in a package, or maybe I don't even know how to get the cover off. If you have something that says tester or sample, people will try it. And if you can get people to try it, sales will go up for that particular product line.
Well, and speaking of sales, I mean, everybody should be selling anyways, even though people say that's not my job, et cetera. But as I was knocking on doors down here and I had a friend visiting, we went to go see some spas, and one of the spas that we walked into, my wife just happened to be admiring the lady spa robe that was there. It was very unique. And the woman came over and said, hey, how are you guys doing? And she took it off the rack and she said, wait till you feel this. So as we talk about touch, right, a lot of people are trained to know that get it on the client, get them to touch it. That engaging of the senses, particularly touch, goes a long way to increasing sales.
Well, and you think even about some of the hotel lines that are starting to sell their sheets and their pillows and their mattresses and their robes, towels as well. It's all the touch experience. When you're going into the hospitality world, so much of it is about the touch.
Yeah, it's a great subject. I love it, especially because the basis for going into a spa is to be touched.
Yes, absolutely. And, studies have shown that, for instance, wait staff, when they just maybe touch someone on the shoulders, they get tipped higher. There's this, and of course we have to be careful in this day and age on how much, there's a fine line between touching and touching. But just even shaking hands to seal that deal, that actually helps commit someone to that other person. Just by a simple handshake, touch on the shoulder, just not even in the spa industry in general. I'm just saying people are still yearning for that connection, that human connection. And that it can be as simple as that.
I'm going to finish with two things. One, as it was told to me before, humans are the only animal in the animal kingdom where we actually stop touching our young at a pretty early age. Animals don't do that. Only humans do that. But meanwhile, here we come back to the spa because we want to be touched more. So that's
exactly.
A good thing.
Absolutely.
Lynn, any of our members listening, they can just reach out to you guys, right? If I remember, you'll give them a consultation, talk to them about their issues. And I'm going to put all of your contact info on the back of this video, as we always do.
Thank you, Alan. Really appreciate that.
Okay, wait, what was our next subject? I didn't write it down, but I know.
Aroma.
Aroma. Oh, I love aromas. Okay, especially because we used to manufacture aromatherapy. Stick around, people. You want to watch aromas in the next video, too. Lynn, as always, thank you. I love being with you. It's always a learning experience for me as well.
Thanks, Alan.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.